By 2020, it is expected that 1/3 of enterprise data breaches will be a result of shadow IT. It is undoubtedly one of the biggest cybersecurity threats facing us today. But if harnessed, it could also be one of your best assets. Welcome to the Pro Tech Show, the place for tech tips and advice for IT pros and decision makers. If that sounds like your kind of thing, then hit that subscribe button and comment below to let me know what you want to see. Today's topic is shadow IT. I'm going to cover what is it, how big is the threat, how do you flush it out of the shadows and understand the scale in your organization, and finally, what should you actually do about it? First up, what is it? Shadow IT is the use of rogue or unsanctioned IT systems. These could be hardware, software, or cloud services. It's something that's been implemented without the knowledge of your organization's IT department. This could be something as simple as someone using Dropbox, or something as complex as a department head going out and getting a brand new system implemented for them. Some people point to the cloud or bring your own device as somehow having created shadow IT. That's not really true. Shadow IT has been with us as long as sanctioned IT. I mean, people used to bring home work on floppy disks, and isn't that just the same thing? And for the youngsters, if I just lost you with floppy disks, well, think of a 3D save icon that can actually store data, although not much data. So how big is the threat? Well, hopefully in the current climate, I don't need to convince you of how damaging a data breach can be, financially or reputationally. Well, Gartner reckoned that by 2020, 1/3 of these data breaches in enterprises will be on data located in shadow IT resources. And that makes sense, because if IT don't know it's there, then how can they secure it? So how widespread is shadow IT? Well, let's look at some research by Cisco. This research was performed in consultation with CIOs in a set of large enterprises in a variety of industries. Going by the numbers, it would seem that the IT departments they worked with had authorized between 32 and 46 cloud services. How many were actually in use? Well, CIOs aren't stupid, so they knew that there were likely going to be rogue services. Their average estimate was that there would likely be about 51 cloud services in use, after accounting for shadow IT. The reality? Cisco found an average of 730 cloud services. That's 14 times more than the CIOs had estimated, and 15 to 22 times more than had actually been approved. That's a staggering disparity, and it shows how out of control the problem is. So how do you get a handle on it? How do you understand the scale in your organization? Well, there are plenty of ways to audit your network and find the devices and applications that are installed there. But the really tricky one is cloud services, because they don't physically exist on your network and they don't leave a lot of evidence behind. Fortunately, a number of tools have sprung up that can help you detect and quantify the use of cloud services within your organization. These can work by deploying agents to your computers or by ingesting firewall logs and processing them. And they can help you identify what cloud services are being used, who's using them, what the level of risk associated with them is, and even what data is being stored in them. The most well-known of these is probably Microsoft's Cloud App Security. Now, due to the integration with Windows, Azure, and Office 365, if you're already a Microsoft shop, then it probably makes sense. And if you've got Microsoft Cloud subscriptions, you might already have licenses for it. Now, there are other options available, of course. If you just Google them, you might need to scroll a bit, but you'll find them. If you don't have and can't afford one of these services, then it's not a bad idea to spin one up in a trial. It won't give you ongoing monitoring, but it will give you a point-in-time snapshot of the state of shadow IT in your organization, and that will put you head and shoulders above the CIOs Cisco were talking to. Okay, we know where we stand. We've discovered a whole pile of shadow IT, but what do we do about it? Well, the knee-jerk reaction is usually to bring down the hammer of policy, ban everything with a threat of disciplinary action. If I may, I'd like to caution you against that. There is a place for policy, definitely, but if you follow the knee-jerk reaction, then you're in danger of throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Instead, ask yourself this: why does shadow IT exist? It's not because your staff enjoy data breaches. Now, one of the answers I often get is, well, people are too lazy to do things properly. Well, I suggest that's a lazy answer. It exists because there's a deficiency in your systems or your processes, and someone has found a better or quicker way of doing things. Now, that better way might be terrible from a security and compliance perspective, but it's delivering a benefit, something that for whatever reason you haven't been able to provide yet. This is innovation at work. If you try and hoard this innovation and make the IT department solely responsible for innovation in IT, then you miss out on a whole pile of good ideas. Again, pulling stats from Gartner, they say that the average IT department makes up 6% of an organization's headcount. That means as soon as you contain the ideas within IT, you have thrown 94% of your good ideas straight in the bin without ever hearing about them. IT's role should be to support and evolve these ideas, not suppress them. Now that doesn't mean you give people full rein to do whatever they want. It means you need to create a culture whereby people come to you with their ideas, so IT can help extract the benefits from them in a planned, sensible and timely manner, without sacrificing security and without duplication of effort. If you simply swing the hammer of policy, then IT become unhelpful ogres, and nobody's going to come to an unhelpful ogre with their ideas. Let me show you a diagram. You've probably all seen Gartner's Magic Quadrants before, you know, the ones with completeness of vision versus ability to implement. Well, this is Quinny's Magic Quadrant, and instead of products, it has IT projects on it. On the vertical axis, we have the knowledge of the problem we're trying to solve. On the horizontal axis, we have the maturity of the solution we're deploying. If you don't understand the business problem and you don't have a good solution, you've got a failure. If you have a really good solution but it doesn't adequately solve the business problem, then you're delivering something of low value. If you've got a great idea and know exactly what problem you're trying to solve, but you've not put enough thought and due diligence into the solution, then you end up incurring a lot of risk. If you've got intimate knowledge of the business problem and a heap of experience with robust solutions that meet all of your policy and regulatory needs, then you are in the land of awesomeness. This is where we all want to be. Here's the thing, IT projects delivered without the involvement of the IT department tend to inhabit this area of the chart. IT projects delivered by IT without the involvement of business users who are supposed to benefit from it and actually understand the problems tend to inhabit this area of the chart. The land of awesomeness only becomes accessible when we work together. Let me give you an example. You do your discovery piece and you find a team of people are using Dropbox. You can't have that. That data needs to be controlled, not stuck in someone's personal cloud account. So you extend your on-premises SharePoint farm with extra storage, and you present them with OneDrive for Business, fully controlled, fully secured, and compliant with all of your policies. Great solution, right? Wrong, because you didn't involve the people who had actually deployed the Shadow IT service. You assumed that they were using this because they needed an offline file sync, but actually they were using it to share documents with suppliers. Now you've blocked Dropbox, they're sending them as email attachments and have versioning problems. If you'd worked together, you might have deployed something like SharePoint Online or Teams instead. So what's the moral of this story? Shadow IT is a threat, but instead of crushing it along with the innovation it represents, try to embrace the creativity, encourage your users to come to you with their ideas. Start by finding out what rogue services are out there. When you find them, don't beat people up. Go and talk to them and find out why they had to go outside of sanctioned services, and then work with them to find a solution to the problem. I'm a great believer that if you're going to take something away, you have to provide a viable alternative. And yes, make clear policies, educate your staff and enforce those policies. But you knew that bit anyway. The point I really want to get across is that you do this in a supportive way, not an authoritarian way that crushes the innovative spirit, because that's a fragile thing and can be one of your best assets. Besides, the more you dig your heels in and shout, the more people are just going to find workarounds. I have genuinely been to an organisation where part of the induction process was showing people how to work around IT restrictions. That is not a good place to be. You don't want to be them. That's all for today. If you like this sort of content, then hit that thumbs up. Either way, I'm doing this for you guys, so drop me a message in the comments and let me know what you want to see next time. I'll have a new video in a couple of weeks. If you want to see it, then hit that subscribe button and do the old bell icon notification thing. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.